for that small business along Main Street who they work their tail off, weekends, evenings, for their family. That entrepreneur who's right on the cusp of finally making it. This bill means over $3,000 in tax relief. And for Texas as a whole, look, I'm going to welcome those 74,000 new jobs that are headed our way because of tax reform. And it also means hardworking Americans everywhere are going to see more in their paychecks, and they need it so badly. We all know this quote, Will Rogers, the difference between death and taxes, that death doesn't get worse every time Congress meets. It's funny, but it really perfectly captures how most Americans have come to feel about our tax code over these past decades. Because with the tax code we have today, Americans have seen it get worse and worse and worse. They've seen it get more unfair, more complex, and even more uncompetitive. Well, when Congress met today, Americans finally saw something different. They saw us all come together to make our tax system better for them in our nation. Today was a major step forward, but this is certainly not the last step in our tax reform journey. We still have a way to go. We'll continue to listen to the American people. We've always said this is not our tax code. It belongs to the American people. We're going to listen to them and their representatives to make this better at every step in the way. And I look forward, and all of us in this room look forward to working with President Trump in the Senate to get this bill to the President's desk by the end of the year. We're committed to getting it done and delivering for the American people. Thank you. Earlier I said there is no one man, no one person who has plowed the field for more years, more boldly, more effectively on behalf of tax reform for the American people. His greatest title is former chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. And I'm proud, we're all proud of our speaker and friend, Paul Ryan.
Thank you, man. Thank you. First, I want to do it back at you. I want to thank the man in the House who made this day possible, our joyful field general from Houston, our good friend and leader, Kevin Brady. Thank you so much. I've got to say, this is nothing short of extraordinary. Let me just tell you, getting 218 members to agree on something as complicated as the most... well, we needed 218, but okay, let me rephrase it. Getting 227 members to agree on something as complicated. This country has not rewritten its tax code since 1986. The powers of the status quo in this town are so strong, yet 227 men and women of this Congress broke through that today. That is powerful. Of course, I want to thank not just the members who made this possible today. I want to thank the President. I want to thank his administration. And I want to thank our partners in the Senate who are doing their work as well. From the very start, we said that failure is not an option, and the President and his team have worked so constructively every step of the way with us. He's been a tremendous partner on this issue. And you know, I just got to say how proud I am of this conference. Tax reform is so very hard. But we know that there are people who are really struggling in this country. We know that we are just coming through a decade of real economic anxiety. And we know that this is a nation that has so much more potential that has not yet been tapped. That's what this day is about. That's what getting this done is about. This is about giving hardworking taxpayers bigger paychecks, more take-home pay. This is about giving those families who are struggling peace of mind. It's about getting this economy to grow faster so we get bigger wages, more jobs, and we put America in the driver's seat in the global economy once again. It's about giving people hope and a new opportunity. And it's about making sure that America continues to be the best place in the world to live, to thrive, to start a business, to create a job, to grow, to construct. We've got a long road ahead of us. This is a very, very big milestone in that long road. We've got a long road ahead of us, and we have a timeline to get this done by the end of the year. We have the Senate right now working on doing this. We're excited about going through the legislative process, going to conference, getting this done, making this bill even better. But most importantly, I am excited on behalf of the American people who are waiting to see us get this done. Last thing I'll say is this. We collectively asked the country in 2016 to give us a chance to go work for them. We asked the people of this country who are struggling, give us a chance to make good by you. Give us a chance to make lives better for you. Give us a chance to improve your life. This conference today did one of the greatest things we could possibly do to make good on that promise, and I'm so proud. Right now, I just want to thank one of the women of our leaders of our Congress. She has been at the forefront of making sure that we get our message out, of making sure that we communicate, and making sure that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth and that we use them in that proportion. Ladies and gentlemen, our chairwoman of the Republican Conference, Cathy McMorris Rodgers.
Well, this is an exciting day for the American people. It's an exciting day for the American economy. We stand here as representatives of families and small businesses and farmers all across this country who have spoken, who have told us they want tax relief, that they want an opportunity for a better life. And today we are proud to stand, we are excited to stand and give them hope for a better tomorrow. You know, we all have the chance to travel around the country, and I was recently down in North Carolina, and I heard a small businesswoman. She came up to me and she said, you know what? If you're able to get tax reform onto the president's desk, I'm going to tear out this wall. I'm going to double my business. I'm going to double the number of employees. And we heard those kind of stories repeated over and over and over. We want people to have larger paychecks. The small business owners who kept telling us, we'd like to be able to pay our employees more. We'd like to be able to increase their paychecks, but it's the tax burden. It's the health care cost. And today we are standing for them. This is why we run for office. This legislation is pro-growth, it's pro-family, because we want a plan that's going to reward hard work, respect the dignity of work, and allow everyone to keep more money in their pocket. And we're talking about $1,182 for that middle-income American family. So our goal today, we had the president with us earlier, is to get this legislation through the Senate and onto the president's desk as soon as possible. And I am joined by so many members, and our leader, our majority leader, is a gentleman from California who guides us through all of these legislative efforts and delivered today a rounding vote. And please join me in welcoming our majority leader, Kevin McCarthy.
Today is a critical day. You know what today sends? For everyone who is listening, for everyone who's watching, it's a sign that your Congress listens to you. For too long you have waited to get your wages increased. We are successful with the next step. I want you to check your check come next year. Check that check, because your withholding, your income will be up. For everyone who ever dreamed of being an entrepreneur, this is your opportunity. For everyone who ever dreamed of starting a family, of raising 2 kids, you know what this bill means? Your first $55,000 you earn, you will not pay 1 penny in income tax. Not 1 penny. For the dream to make sure that America stays on top, that the next century is ours, this will bring competition back to America. We've already seen CEOs who have left because of the burdensome of this tax code, that has moved to another country to make the decision to move back. And most importantly, it means America is back. I want to take one moment, and I do want to thank Kevin Brady. I never got to serve with Ronald Reagan. But when I watched the demeanor of this chairman, his cheerful persistence, always finding the opportunity on the other end, always listening and finding a solution, he may not be as tall, but he stands taller than any of them today. Our job is not done. The Senate will have to do their work, and we'll come back. And when we finish the job, we make this promise to you. We will come back in a bigger celebration because we have listened to the American public. And I'll take one point of personal privilege. After this, I'm going to go celebrate my mother's birthday today. I want to introduce an individual for the whole reason, not why she ran, but the experience of what she had, of what a tax code has done to her family. They could take a very difficult situation and be able to keep a farm, raise a family, and say that she can make a difference. Today is a symbol of what Kristi Noem has been able to achieve. But it's not her last. Our Congresswoman, Kristi Noem.
So it was almost 24 years ago that my dad was killed in an accident in our farm. And at the time, I was 22 years old. In fact, I became a first-time mother just weeks after he passed away. And so I was not only dealing with becoming a new mother, taking over a family operation with my mother who was devastated, but then dealing with all the changes in that. When we got a bill in the mail from the IRS that said we owed death taxes, and it made me mad. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I originally ran for office back in South Dakota for the state legislature. I felt like we needed more normal, everyday people making our laws in this country work for them, instead of it being the other way around, our laws hurting them. And so I'm very proud to be here. I'm a member of the Ways and Means Committee that worked on this bill. We had over 12 formal hearings on tax reform policies. We had hundreds of hours of debate. And we focused on 3 different priorities when we put together this legislation before you. We wanted strong families. We wanted to focus on low and middle income individuals in America. And we wanted growth. We wanted growth in the number of jobs, the incomes, the wages for them, growth and opportunities for our kids and future generations. This bill represents that today. I worked on the family tax credit, which prioritizes our kids, greatly increases the child tax credit, gives the taxpayer and a spouse. We got rid of the marriage penalty, which was a wonderful change in policy for this country, and also recognized that many families out there have adult dependents living with them too that they need to care for, and acknowledge that in this tax credit as well. We made sure that we lowered rates for folks, small businesses, family farms and ranches. We gave them an interest deduction and expensing ability, and we got rid of and fully repealed that unfair double tax, the most un-American tax in our code, the death tax, in this piece of legislation. So we're not done yet, and this bill isn't perfect. But it will be a very happy day for me, a happy day for America when we come back here and we approve the conference committee that goes to the president's desk. Because what we will be doing is creating new opportunities for our kids. The average family of 4 in South Dakota, they bring home about $50,000 a year, which isn't very much. That's both parents working, and they have to pay their electricity, their mortgage, their energy costs out of that, and there's just not a whole lot left over. I'm thrilled that in January their paychecks will be bigger, that they'll have more opportunities to provide for their families, and that we're building a stronger America together. Thank you. I want to introduce, I want to introduce somebody that is the most positive, uplifting individual I think I've ever had the chance to be around. And he's one of my personal heroes, Steve Scalise.
Thanks so much, Kristi. This is an exciting day for hardworking families who have been so hungry for tax relief, so hungry to see our economy take off again, fed up with watching a stagnant economy where wages are stuck. And like me and so many other people, these hardworking families that are sick and tired of watching our good jobs move overseas because we had the highest tax rate in the industrialized world. All that changed today with the passage of this bill, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And I want to thank my colleagues, those standing behind me who didn't put up 218 votes, which would have been okay. 217 was actually the magic number today. But instead, the 227 colleagues who stood up today for hardworking families too and said that they want to help cut taxes for families across the board. This is an exciting day for our economy. And I just want to thank President Trump. Every step of the way, President Trump was directly engaged, kept talking about how he wanted to push those tax cuts further and further down to the middle class to make sure that this was fair for everybody. It's not just corporate tax cuts, which are critically important at bringing jobs back to America and getting our economy moving again, and increasing wages. But he also wanted to make sure that that single mother who's out there working 2 or 3 jobs gets that same tax relief as well. And Chairman Brady and his committee, who did such an incredible job at working overtime to make sure that all of those objectives were met. And it wasn't just President Trump. I want to thank our former colleague, Vice President Mike Pence, who was so helpful as well and reached out. This was an all-hands-on-deck effort from the White House. President Trump on down, making it clear that they're going to fulfill the promise that we've also made, that we're going to stand up for working families. We're going to provide tax cuts and relief for working families, and we're going to get this economy moving again and bring those jobs back to America. Today is a great win for the American people. Now the Senate gets to do their job and finally go to a conference committee where we pass a bill by the end of this year and put it on President Trump's desk so we can finally make America great again and get our economy moving again. Congratulations to all of my colleagues. Let's go get this done.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.